I don't think a lot of people would fundamentally disagree when I said that we are not happy with the matchmaker. It has been a point of contention for about as long as competitive play exists, and it is also a topic I've covered numerous times on this channel already. Now, if you are under the impression that there's only one single problem with it that could be fixed just like that, then you are painfully mistaken. The problem surrounding matchmaking issues in Overwatch comes down to many factors, not the least of which is a wrong idea set of the community of how a matchmaking system is supposed to work, and even downright ignorance to why some of the perceived anomalies are happening. Bottom line is that even if you think that you know how the matchmaker works, chances are that you don't. And that goes for me as much as most other people. But that does not stop us from talking about it, speculating, and offering our feedback. Because whether the matchmaker is objectively broken or not, if it is perceived to be not functioning properly by the player base, then something needs to change. That means that our feedback is very important for the devs, even when we have no idea what we are talking about. My target today is the dev team's stance on how the matchmaking system is handling Smurf accounts. Allowing smurfing in competitive play creates a lot of issues on a social level, as I've covered in my video talking about 5 inexcusable flaws in Overwatch. Matchmaking rating adjustments or not, the idea of participating in competitive play with a secondary account will always be unhealthy for a game, no matter how you look at it. A player smurfing fundamentally does not care as much as somebody whose actual elo is on the line, and that is simply not fair towards players who are blood, sweat, and tears out there trying to get their ranks up. With that out of the way, let's talk about the balance-related issues that can occur thanks to their acceptance for Smurf accounts. Take me as an example. I have an alt account almost entirely dedicated to practicing DPS heroes because God knows having a Zenyatta one-trick swap to DPS is gonna cause a lot of whining when I try to do that on my main account. So I play Zenyatta on my main and I have an absolutely awful time. Nobody cares to group up, nobody's peeling, and everyone is just whining constantly. What would stop me now from swapping my Zenyatta Masters account to my DPS Platinum account, to then play Zenyatta against players who are way worse than me just because I'm frustrated? So what about it, you might say? The matchmaker is gonna see you stomping plats and adjust your rating very quickly. And you would not be completely wrong if you said that. If I spend 2 days just consistently stomping plats and diamonds until I reach my original rating again, then the problem would be solved, right? Well, at least according to Blizzard, but here is the actual issue. If I was to go on one of those angry tantrums where I just want to stomp some low elo players, then I would not be doing that for 2 days straight. I would go for a handful of games, blow some steam off, and call it a night. If I keep playing DPS on that account and only every so often go on one of those rampages, then I'm going to be a constant potential problem for the matchmaker. And here's the kicker. One of my friends has done exactly what I just talked about. They had an alt account to practice one hero, got placed very low, and one day got frustrated because their main heroes are no longer meta now in Season 10. So they went on a tear on their low elo account where they could obviously still pull some stunts off. And it took them 2 whole days of grinding competitive play to be adjusted back into Grandmaster. 2 whole days. 2 days of them completely destroying the balance of their matches by tearing through everyone they played against. Now consider the following. How many players have an alt account? Given that Blizzard openly said that having alt accounts is fine, you can be sure that there is a ton of them. Just try to pay attention in your own matches how many players below level 100 you can find. Even if everyone only did angry stomps every so often, given that so many players own alt accounts, you can bet your bucket that this is gonna be a common occurrence because of just how many Smurf accounts are out there. It's the same thing I said for being toxic. Why would someone care about practicing a PMA on a Smurf account? Even if they only get toxic like once a month, given how many Smurf accounts exist, you can come across toxicity very frequently. Alright Cliff, you might be saying, now tell me something new. All of these things have been complained about for ages. And I hear you, yes, you are completely right. But I think that most people who made their opinions public failed to address the core issue in this argument. Saying things like, oh, I'm like 2 divisions below where I'm supposed to be because all those try-hard Smurfs are on the enemy team and I keep getting those that don't care. It's the typical old elo hell fallacy. Obviously, in the grand scheme of things, Blizzard is banking on all of this balancing itself out. That eventually you are going to have more legitimate matches than Smurf account infested ones, and somehow that is supposed to even out your elo based on your own performance. But what I want to point out is not an individual player's ranking that is affected by this issue. I want to talk about the sheer magnitude that this problem has reached. It is no longer the case of isolated incidents where somebody might be having bad luck. Considering how many Smurf accounts are out there, chances are that the amount of legitimate matches you participate in have have already gotten slimmer than those that have been affected unfairly to some extent. Losing and winning thanks to the influence of Smurf accounts in itself is causing matchmaking anomalies where players gain and lose rating where they shouldn't be gaining or losing any. And the issue obviously does not come from smurfing alone, because sure, you might be banking on that eventually balancing itself out, but then we look at all the other issues that also plague competitive play. There are players who, on the back of patch heroes alone, climb multiple divisions in a single season. The recently changed Hanzo and newly added Baguette are perfect examples of that. I have found Season 9 Platinum players who got near Grandmaster by one-tricking Brigitte. No matter how you slice it, that can't be right. And the effects in-game show that. Players like these have no idea how to perform in a high rank. Sure, they might get away with farming some freelo thanks to the chaotic and often random nature of competitive play, especially on the back of obviously broken heroes or meta trends. But in the grand scheme of things, especially once things get dicey, they painfully underperform. They will drop out of that rating once the specific hero has been nerfed or once another meta comes around. And on their way down, they will be taking a lot of other players' elo with them, and that completely unjustified. So we have this weird cycle where players are getting frustrated on their main accounts because they feel like they lost their games unjustifiably. They then swap to their old accounts where they either don't care anywhere near as much or they proceed to absolutely stomp other players lower in rank than their main. Your skill rating by no means actually measures your skill, and I think by now we are all painfully aware of that. Sure, we can spend 20 minutes talking about how the player base in large does not understand why the matchmaker feels so unfair so often, but at the end of the day, allowing Smurf accounts is just one of the many domino pieces that you placed waiting to be kicked over to eventually bring down this whole construct that we call competitive play. But hey, ultimately, that's just my point of view on the whole issue. Whether that is actually accurate or not, who knows? But our feedback matters, so make sure you drop down into the comment section below and give us your own take on what you think is wrong with the matchmaker. And if you think it's fine, tell us why you think so. For all of you who are tired of complaining about problems and instead would like to take a step into improving your gameplay, why not check out my video on clutch plays based on game sense over mechanical skill. I actually think you guys might find that really useful. But until then, thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to drop me a like on your way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and maybe share this video with a friend you think would find it interesting. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.